Welcome back. 10 years ago, a gunman shot and killed 20 first graders and 6 educators at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. Because the victims were so young, many believed it would be a turning point in gun control. A decade later, we examine the lessons learned from this tragedy.
My name is Mark Barden. I'm CEO of the Sandy Hook Promise Action Fund and a founding member of Sandy Hook Promise.
At Sandy Hook Elementary.
We immediately felt a warmth and a sense of community here in Sandy Hook that resonated with us, and we appreciated it, and we just felt like we had just lucked into the right choice by deciding to raise our children here. The Newtown community really just wrapped their arms around us and loved us and held us and continues to do so.
On December 14th, 2012, he sent off his 3 children, James, Natalie, and 7-year-old Daniel, to school.
I started getting texts and phone calls and emails about a lockdown in our school system. Then I heard that there was reports of a possible shooting in Sandy Hook Elementary School. And then from that moment on, it was a blur. I was racing to the school in the van, arriving on a scene like I've never seen in my life before of emergency vehicles. I kept waiting for Daniel and kept trying to find out the news, like what's going on. After a while, it seemed like everybody had been evacuated. I'm like, well, where's Daniel's class? And after that, our governor at the time collected the remaining families in a room in the firehouse. And that's when they announced that 6 educators and 20 first grade children had been shot to death. And that if you haven't been connected with your loved one, they're probably laying dead in the school. So, when you ask me how I tell that story or how I interpret what this does to you, there are no words. I feel like I'm a different person. I feel like I'm literally rewired. Unfortunately, far too many know what this feels like, and they're not getting the support. This happens every day in our country. Families lose loved ones, parents lose children to preventable gun violence every single day in this country. Mass shooting events in schools, churches, movie theaters, shopping malls, grocery stores, baseball fields. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Some of the parents created the Sandy Hook Promise, a commitment to try to stop school shootings.
We did learn that in what we now know are 100% of school shooters talk about it or give off warning signs before they commit the act.
The foundation goes into schools to teach children to know the signs if someone may be preparing for a mass shooting.
The Sandy Hook Promise programs fall under the umbrella of Know the Signs. Because people give off warning signs, that means that anyone who's connected to that person has an opportunity to interpret and identify those warning signs and then take action to get them to help before it becomes a tragedy. And that is what we do. You know, imagine that at scale. Imagine one person has given off other warning signs, whether it's in social media or in other language, that they're going to hurt other people. Imagine now that anyone in that person's network who hears or sees that knows what to do. Says, hey, that's a warning sign. And I know what to do because I've been trained by Sandy Hook Promise, and I can tell my trusted adult, I can use the anonymous reporting system and report that tip. And now that person gets connected to help before it becomes a tragedy. And imagine that at scale. And that's exactly what we're doing. We are training students and teachers and parents in all 50 states. And so we really see this at scale as an honest-to-goodness cultural change, and one that we desperately need.
Some 18 million Americans have gone through the program, and 115,000 tips have been anonymously reported.
But an 8th grader who had just participated in the Say Something training said to her guidance counselor, "I saw something in my social media that I wouldn't have thought twice about the day before my Sandy Hook Promise training." But she recognized it as exactly what we had trained her to look for. Then she followed the steps, told her trusted adult, who was her guidance counselor. The guidance counselor looked into it and uncovered a horrific plot to put a bomb in a school locker and then for somebody else to be staged on a hill to start shooting at the students when they came out from being evacuated from the bomb. It was all planned and ready to go. And police investigated and made arrests. And that is such a chilling story. Fortunately/unfortunately, we are seeing those stories of life-saving interventions increasing. And, we see in the news all too frequently how important our work is.
Since Sandy Hook, the school shootings have continued.
There's too many people in the kitchen. Yes, I hear you.
My name is Debbie Hickson. I am the wife of Chris Hickson, and this is Corey Hickson, our son. I guess because he filled the room so much, always gave the people around him a sense of security, like he was going to protect you all the time.
Both Debbie and Chris worked in education, watching with horror as school shootings continued to occur over the years.
I was actually a teacher when Columbine happened, and Chris and I were both at the same school at that time, and we thought, oh my gosh, that could happen to us. Like, that was the first time I think that we ever realized that school isn't safe.
In 1999, 2 students at Columbine High School in Colorado murdered 13 people. At that point, it was the deadliest school shooting in U.S. history, but it would be the beginning of a deadly new era.
But then Sandy Hook happened. And at that time you thought, oh my God, these are babies. These were babies. The government's gonna do something now. This is gonna be the one that stops it. And here we are so many years later, and it wasn't the one.
Then Chris took a job working at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida.
911, what is your emergency?
Hi, apparently there's someone shooting guns in Douglas High School.
At what school?
Douglas High School in Parkland.
And then came Valentine's Day 2018. A 19-year-old former student entered the school with an AR-15 style rifle and started shooting.
There is shooting in Douglas High School.
Douglas High School? Okay, stay on the line for me, okay? Yeah. And they said it's happening in the school?
Yes.
Okay, stay on the line with me. Do not hang up, okay?
I was sitting in my office waiting for a meeting, and I heard that there was a shooting at Douglas, so I immediately tried to call him on his phone.
Hearing the gunfire, Chris Hickson ran towards the shooter in what was likely an attempt to disarm him. Hickson was gunned down. In 6 minutes, the shooter killed 17 students and staff at the high school in Parkland, Florida. It's the deadliest high school shooting in U.S. history.
Those were his kids. That was his family, and he was going to do what he could to go in there, try to take him out, whether he had a weapon or not.
It was like around 2 or something.
Yeah.
I woke up. What are you looking for? Where is he? I'm sorry, but he's not here.
Yeah.
He went there. That's it.
You know, Corey woke up when I came in the house and said, where is he? And I didn't know what to say. I said, Corey, he's in heaven.
Who here is angry that they have allowed gun violence to become the leading cause of death for children and teens in the United States?
The massacre unleashed a new push across the country for gun control. Florida passed a number of laws following the massacre restricting gun sales to people over the age of 21. And more red flag laws gave powers to authorities to seize weapons from those who may be a threat to themselves or others. But moves to enact a national ban on assault weapons fizzled out once again.
This can't continue to happen. We live in a country that loves their rights to own weapons more than they love their right to life. And the fact that it's so easy to get an assault weapon, it just boggles my mind. And I don't disagree with the Second Amendment, and I understand that people have a right to own a weapon to protect themselves, but assault weapons are not for protection, they're for mass killings. Chips. This is someone who lost his sense of security, who his buddy, his coach, his friend, and the person who helped him to get through his daily struggles in life. All right, lunch is served. So Corey has been doing Special Olympics since he was 8. He's 27 now. And he did track and field for a long time, and when he was in high school, Chris and I ended up helping and being the coaches.
Him being a dad, right? You know how it is.
Back at Sandy Hook Promise, they continue to work to end or minimize school shootings.
I think everybody in the world was impacted by the devastation of this horror. I mean, how could you not be, right? So we've made a promise. I've made a promise to honor my Daniel and to protect James and Natalie and everybody else from having to endure this indescribable, life-changing, DNA rewiring pain. And that's what we're doing at Sandy Hook Promise. So when people say if nothing changed after what happened at Sandy Hook, nothing will ever change. And that's just not true. This is a movement. This is social change. This is cultural change. That takes time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of consistency. And we're in it for the long game. We have to be. I mean, what else can we do? We can't just say, well, it's not happening fast enough. Not enough is happening fast enough. It's a slow grind, but we are making progress. We are pushing the boulder up the hill. We are pulling the pendulum back, and we are saving lives.
Mark knows spotting the signs of a potential mass shooter is vitally important, but he also believes the country needs more gun laws.
Look, no one law or no number of laws is going to prevent every act of violence or every school shooting or every suicide, but they help. They are inhibitors. So closing the background check loophole for all ages at the federal level. Extreme risk protection orders, which are proven effective. I believe that weapons that were designed for battlefield use with the singular purpose of killing as many people as possible in a short amount of time do not belong in the hands of untrained civilians.